Inchon had every natural disadvantage for an amphibious landing tidal ranges of over 30 feet, mud flats that could trap landing craft for hours, and a single, narrow channel. Most of General Douglas MacArthur's own naval commanders recommended against the landing. They called it impossible and suicidal. The lesser-known fact is that the Navy's official study concluded Inchon had only 2 days in all of 1950 when a landing was even technically feasible. MacArthur picked one of them. Understanding why MacArthur risked the impossible requires looking not at the sea, but at the mind of a general who had already pulled off one of the century's greatest amphibious landings. MacArthur had commanded the Pacific Theater in World War II. He knew amphibious warfare, and he knew that the North Koreans would never expect an attack at Inchon. By August 1950, the North Korean People's Army had pushed UN forces into a small corner of southeastern Korea, the Pusan perimeter. The situation was desperate. The North Koreans had numerical superiority, better tanks, and a shorter supply line. If Pusan fell, there would be no place left to retreat except the sea. MacArthur's solution was not to reinforce Pusan. Instead, it was to cut the North Korean supply lines by landing behind them, at Inchon, a port city just about 25 miles from Seoul. The logic was simple. Take Seoul, and every North Korean supply line running south would be severed. The army at Pusan would collapse without a single frontal assault. The obstacles were not simple. At low tide, the harbor turned into miles of impassable mud. Landing craft would be stranded for up to 6 hours, completely exposed to enemy fire. The channel was only 1 mile wide and had currents up to 6 knots, faster than most landing craft could manage. A single sunken ship could block the entire invasion force. The Navy's hydrographers calculated that the first wave would have a window of exactly 2 hours and 45 minutes to land before the tide dropped below the craft's minimum draft. Marine General Oliver P. Smith, who would command the landing force, later said, "We drew up a list of every possible natural disaster. Inchon had all of them." The North Koreans had fortified the harbor. They placed artillery on the island of Wolmedo, which guarded the channel. Any landing force would have to take that island first. MacArthur's plan required taking Wolmedo in the morning high tide, then waiting for the next high tide in the evening to land the main force. That meant a 12-hour gap. On September 13th, Navy destroyers sailed within 800 yards of Wolmedo and shelled it for 2 days. The North Korean gunners fired back, but their aim was poor. On the morning of September 15th, the first wave hit Red Beach. The seawall was over 15 feet high. Marines used ladders and grappling hooks to scale it under small arms fire. By noon, Wolmedo was secured. The main landing force waited offshore for the evening tide. Those were the longest hours of the war for the men in the landing craft. The evening tide came at 5:30 p.m. The second wave landed at Blue Beach inside the harbor. North Korean resistance was lighter than expected. Many defenders had fled after Wolmedo fell. The amphibious triumph was not a bloodless one, but compared to the projected losses, naval estimates had predicted up to 5,000 casualties in the first day. It was a stunning success. Wolmedo was secured by noon. The main landings began at 5:30 in the evening, and by midnight, all 3 beaches were secured. Casualties were fewer than 200 Marines killed. Within 5 days, United Nations forces had recaptured Seoul. And within 2 weeks, the North Korean army was in full retreat. The amphibious gamble had, well, shattered their entire southern campaign. MacArthur famously said, "The Navy has never let me down." He was not wrong. But you know, the Navy's success came despite Inchon, not because of it. The overlooked consequence is that Inchon became a doctrinal trap. After 1950, the United States military assumed that any amphibious landing could succeed with enough boldness. Inchon worked because of surprise, because of North Korean overextension, and honestly, because of a tide.